Hello, music fans. You're watching Death by Unicorn, where I talk about metal, rock, and prog music. Check out my channel if you're into that kind of music. Hit that subscribe button if you want to stay in the loop on all the videos I'm making. Today, I'm talking about what I'll be listening to in the month of March 2024. I've got 22 albums on my list to check out. I've already listened to a few of them. You'll see those ones highlighted in orange there, the ones that I've already listened to. And as these come out every week or so, I do my quick first impressions and I post a video on my channel giving my first impressions. And then at the end of the month, I give my top 10 albums of the month. So stay tuned for all that if you enjoy this content and you want to hear my thoughts on these albums. Without further ado, let's quickly go through the list, starting off with Enslaved and Heimdal Deluxe. This is a Norwegian progressive black metal band. I've heard the original album, Heimdal, from 2023. I'm excited to hear the deluxe version. Looks like there's a couple alternate versions of tracks and then some live tracks, so I'll be checking that out, but it's not a full brand new studio album or anything like that. Next on the list is one that I just checked out by Big Big Train called The Likes of Us. This is the 15th album by this progressive rock band from the UK. And I'm not going to go into too many of my thoughts in this video because a future video on my channel, I'll cover my first impressions of all these early March releases. So stay tuned for that if you want to hear my thoughts. Another one that I've checked out already is Daniel Romano's Outfit and Too Hot to Sleep. This is a Canadian artist who's kind of hard to classify genre-wise as indie rock. They say country on their Bandcamp. There's definitely some country influences in here. I'm not sure how many albums Daniel Romano's Outfit has released, because Daniel Romano's released some albums, I think, just under his name, Daniel Romano, and then some under Daniel Romano's Outfit. And then I think he dropped like 7 albums in 2020 alone. And I listened to at least 7 that I listened to anyways. There might have been even more, um, including one in 2020 where he featured Danny Carey of Tull on drums, which is pretty cool. I've really enjoyed his output in 2020. He's got influences from a lot of different genres, like I can even hear like some hardcore punk and prog rock influences, even though this is more of an alternative indie folk country rock album. And Bruce Dickinson released a solo album called The Mandrake Project. It's the 7th solo album by this legendary singer from Iron Maiden. Check it out if you like heavy metal and you like Iron Maiden and Bruce Dickinson's vocals. And then when we have Everything released Mountainhead, and this is kind of more of a art rock pop electronica with indie prog all mixed together. Pretty cool stuff. So that's it for the albums I've listened to so far. I've listened to all the ones that I mentioned so far, except I haven't listened to the deluxe version of Enslaved yet. Now let's get into some of the ones that I haven't heard yet that I plan to listen to. First up would be Another Sky. This would be the second album by this band from the UK. And on this one, I heard the single The Pain, and that's a great song that got me interested in checking out this whole album. Um, and then I've got Matt Page with Apocalypse Garden. This will be the debut solo album, I believe, from this American singer from the band Dream the Electric Sleep. I heard Dream the Electric Sleep's 2023 album. I enjoyed that, so I'm interested to hear his solo work here. Then we got the Bardic Depths releasing What We Really Like in Stories, the third album by this band from the UK. It's progressive rock. I'm always down to check out new progressive rock albums. Judas Priest, the legendary heavy metal band that formed way back in the 70s, uh, is releasing Invincible Shield, their 19th album. Great British band. My favorite album by them is Painkiller, and the singles from this album are starting to remind me a little bit of Painkiller, some of them. So I'm actually pretty damn excited. They still sound like they rock really hard, even at their old age. Then I've got Turbulence on my list with their album called Binary Dreams. This is the third album by this band from the Lebanon. They're a progressive metal band. And I try to check out pretty much any progressive metal that I hear about, as it's my favorite genre. Uh, I keep hearing about a lot of new stuff, so I keep adding it to my list. And if my list gets too big, I have to make some choices because, I don't want to listen to more than 30 albums a month, or is usually kind of what I go for. I've got 22 on my list today, so I might have room for like another 8 or so in this month. Next up, I've got Sonata Arctica with Clear Cold Beyond. This is the 11th album by this Finnish band. It's symphonic power metal with progressive influences. Then Vicinity, also on March 8th, with their album 8, the Roman numeral 8. This is a Norwegian progressive metal band, and it's their third album. So excited to hear that as well. I don't know too much about Turbulence, Sonata Arctica, or Vicinity. I haven't listened to them all much. I've heard the name Sonata Arctica a lot because they've had a long career, so I'm sure that'll be good. I don't know too much about Turbulence and Vicinity, but I think, they're progressive metal. They'll probably be pretty cool if it's done well. Midas Fall is releasing Cold Waves Divide Us, also on March 8th. It's the fifth album by this band from the UK, and it's post-rock with electronic, alternative, progressive, gothic, and math rock vibes. An interesting blend of genres there. And Myrath is releasing Karma, sixth album by this band from Tunisia, progressive power metal with symphonic metal influences. This is a band as well that I've never really listened to them before, but I did hear an early release track from this album, which sounded pretty cool. I think this band also actually put out 4 tracks so far, actually, that I heard in February, and they made it into a Into the Light EP, if I recall correctly. So I like that EP. Hopefully, hopefully they save some good songs for the rest of the album, and it's not just downhill from there, and the best songs were already released already. I'm hoping for some more gold here. Then DragonForce is releasing Warp Speed Warriors on March 15th. It's their 9th album. They're a great power metal band from the UK. Of course, people know them from their song Through the Fire and the Flames, which I think is their biggest song. It was featured in Guitar Hero 3, I believe. That's one of the things that helped me get into them, as I was a big Guitar Hero fan in high school. And I think they're really fun. I actually like their new stuff. I like their new singer even better than their previous singer. So I'm excited to hear this. They can be hit or miss. I like some of their more progressive and more interesting stuff. I think their album that I liked was called Reaching into Infinity, I believe, is the more progressive one that they did. But I like a lot of the stuff that they've done with the new singer, although they do kind of sound like parodies of themselves at this point, like they're kind of rinsing and repeating their formula. It's nice. I hope they change it up and find some way to diversify their sound here while still being true to themselves, and because they are really fun and I like their style, and it is pretty crazy and uniquely them, so they kind of need that signature, but I also want to hear them reach for it a little more, try some new stuff. Then Jethro Tull is releasing a Steven Wilson remix of the Chateau d'Hérouville sessions from 1972. So this is a remix. This is, of course, a legendary progressive rock band from the 70s. And I've heard that this is Jethro Tull's Great Lost album. I haven't actually listened to the Chateau d'Hérouville sessions from 1972, as far as I know. But of course, it was recorded back in summer of 1972 after they were riding on the back of the massive success of Thick as a Brick, which is probably my favorite album by them. These sessions were nicknamed the Disaster Sessions by the band and had a bunch of problems that included equipment failures, bed bugs, and food poisoning. So the band returned to London with the intention of continuing work on this new material, but history shows that never happened. This work was cast aside in favor of brand new studio album, which was 1973's A Passion Play. But Ian Anderson did complete and rework most of this original material to release on the Nightcap album as the Chateau Disaster tapes. Then in 2013, they received a makeover by Steven Wilson for inclusion on a Passion Play extended performance box set. So yeah, it'll be cool to hear these kind of like demos almost that have been remixed by Steven Wilson, so they'll probably sound really good. And then we have Whom Gods Destroy releasing Insanium. This is going to be the debut album by this progressive metal supergroup from the US, featuring the amazing Bumblefoot on guitar. Just insane shredding. From the solos I've heard so far, like some of the best guitar solos of the year, up there, like between him and I think they're probably the best guitar solos of the year. Caligula's Horse's solos are pretty amazing too, so tough to beat. Those are probably my top two favorite guitar soloists this year so far, Bumblefoot and Sam Valen from Caligula's Horse. Also the keyboard solos on this, Derek Sherinian, formerly of Dream Theater, just amazing as well. The vocals also good. Is his name Dino? I don't want to try to pronounce his last name from memory, but he did the vocals on one of Michael Romeo's solo albums. Michael Romeo from Symphony X, he made a solo album with this guy on vocals, and he's great. So it's really like a great super group of progressive metal talent here. Really excited to hear what they do. While She Sleeps is releasing Self Hell. This is the 6th album by this metalcore band from the UK. And ALMO is releasing Reconciliation, a debut album by this progressive metal group from Sweden. I think this is actually a one-man musical project. The first single I heard from this was great and reminiscent of Between the Buried and Me. I'm excited to hear what else is on this album. Then Elbow is releasing Audio Vertigo on March 22nd. This is the 10th album by this band from the UK, and it's art rock with indie rock, alternative rock, and progressive rock influences. And Standards is releasing Fruit Galaxy, a 3rd album by this American instrumental math rock band. And another Steven Wilson remix. This time it's Gentle Giant on March 29th with The Missing Piece. I love the album The Missing Piece. So this isn't net new material or anything. It's songs that I've already heard and am very familiar with. Love the track 2 Weeks in Spain, is a great track. But pretty much every track on here is great. This is maybe the last truly excellent or near masterpiece Gentle Giant album. And then after that, they do dip a little bit in quality after this in their discography. But Gentle Giant's just one of the best 70s prog rock bands, and I'd be interested to hear what Steven Wilson brought to this album in terms of sound, so I'll be checking it out. And then last on my list right now for March, which I'm sure will grow as I hear about new things, is Sum 41 and their album Heaven, and then it's like an X, Heaven X Hell, Heaven and Hell. I don't know how you're supposed to say it. But there it is. And this is their 8th album. Of course, they're a kind of pop punk band, a punk rock band with heavy metal, pop, hardcore, alternative influences thrown in there. And they've said that they're disbanding after the tour for this album. So this is likely the last album from Sum 41. So definitely check it out. And as a little bonus, you can see on my screen a few of the albums that I'm kind of spitballing and putting on my list already for April. So there's Era, In Vain, Dustin Kensrue, and Samakia for April 5th. But I'll make another video once I've kind of finished my April listening list, and I'll put that on my channel with my full April 2024 listening list in about a month's time. That's what I'll be listening to in March. Let me know if there's some other great stuff that you think I should check out, especially in metal, rock, and prog, or even some other genres of artists that you think I might be interested in. And let me know which of these albums you're most excited for, and if there's any of these that you're dreading and think will be bad, let me know down in the comments, and stay tuned for next time. Peace out.